it is time for our special feature. Every week, it's mysterious how this happens, but it happens every week. Um, there's some kind of common theme that emerges. And I don't know if it's like law of attraction stuff, that Cherry's cocktail party phenomenon that I learned about in AP psychology a zillion years ago. But this week, there's always a theme. And so I'm going to talk about that theme, as always, for a little bit. If somebody has any comments or questions, absolutely feel free to share them. Just remember, if you're watching this live, there's a 13-second delay between when I say something and when you hear it. So I'll be on the lookout for it. I look forward to any comments or questions, stories that you might have on this. But the theme that has emerged over this past week is a theme of continuity. I've seen this theme come up when business leaders encounter conflicts between leading their organizations and other priorities that they have in their lives that are important to them to honor. I've seen this come up with staff turnover. I've also seen this come up, hey Andrea! I've seen this come up inside, that really falls under engagement turnover. And also, not like exit planning for an organization, or how are we going to pass the torch? And this theme of continuity has come up in these three different types of situations. And so I wanted to offer some thoughts about continuity. And as always, beginning with the why. Because there's no legal, moral, or any other right in saying an organization should have continuity. No. However, if you as an organizational leader want the organization to continue to operate while you're honoring other priorities, if you want products and services to go without missing a step when you have staff turnover, if you want to be able to pass the torch, whether it's through an M&A event and you want to maximize the selling price, whether you want to know that the people being served by your nonprofit organization will continue to be served without interruption as you pass the torch to the next, let's say, executive director. The common theme here is continuity. And one of the strongest things that I really want you to have in place is I want you to have documented procedures and documented structure. Like, this is our organizational chart. This is our chart depicting lines of authority. This is our chart depicting lines of communication. This is our chart showing us what technology we use and for what. This is our techno ecosystem. This is a cross-functional flow chart saying this is a visual depiction of what role, not person, because we're talking about continuity here. What role does what task, and then what? Then next role does what task, and then what? Yeah, at certain points in the organizational life cycle, you could have one person with 5 different roles. But when you document that may not be the same. As the organization continues to grow, you may have a CFO who's different from the controller, or a CFO who's different from the director of finance. So if these are documented by role, that supports and enables continuity in spite of life's challenges, in spite of carefully orchestrated changes. The organization can survive. The organization can thrive and keep operating without interruption. There's more than one way to document a thing. You've already heard me say a couple of different things. You can have cross-functional flow charts, you can have organizational charts, you can have other types of maps, you can also have checklists. This is how we do this type of function. We click this, click tools, options, click. You can take them click by click. You can have decision trees with flowcharts, if this then that. You can record videos, screencasts. And the best part of all of this is, not only can you have continuity in the systems and processes, but the more personal you create as your documentation, the more you can have continuity in organizational culture. So these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you today. If you have any stories of amazing and smooth actions of continuity, share them. If you have stories in which there was no continuity plan in place, there was some kind of an interruption, and the organization and those served by the organization suffered as a result, tell us that story as well. These are stories that need to be heard. These are stories that need to be understood, taken to heart. So any organization that's out there working hard to make a difference in the world can keep surviving and keep thriving in the face of the dynamic nature of life. Wow, I just said dynamic nature of life. If this is a CFO broadcast, whoa! I love this. I love this show. I love you all.